And I wasn't breathing the whole time. By the second round, that's when I started making my noises like, ah. And I was moving better.
That's what made it to that.
What?
Yes.
Just when everybody thought Chrisean had finally packed up the chaos, blocked the circus, retired from the Blueface Olympics, and chosen peace like a woman who had survived 3 seasons of emotional WWE, here comes the internet dragging her right back into the ring. Because apparently, Blueface did not just walk back into the storyline. He came back holding a microphone, a smirk, and enough messy energy to make the Kardashians look like a quiet church picnic. And the wildest part is not even the reunion. Clips, the smiles, the hints, or the way fans started screaming, "Girl, not again." Like they were watching the villain return in a Marvel post-credit scene. The real bombshell is that while Chrisean looks like she is trying to play grown, peaceful, forgiving, and healed, Blueface is out here making it seem like Chrisean Jr. got pushed to the side of the picture like an unwanted background extra. Now, let's be serious for one dramatic second, because this situation is not just messy, it is emotionally expensive, spiritually exhausting, and publicly embarrassing in ways that should come with a warning label. Chrisean has been through the screaming, the crying, the public fights, the love declarations, the baby drama, the breakup posts, the forgiveness speeches, and enough internet clownery to fill a Zeus Network reunion couch twice. So when fans saw her even anywhere near Blueface again, the timeline did not just react. It exploded like somebody threw gasoline on a comment section and lit it with a TikTok Shade Room repost. People were asking one question with their whole chest. How does Blueface keep getting access to the storyline while Junior keeps looking like the one paying the emotional bill? And baby Blueface's timing made it worse. Because instead of clearing the air like a responsible grown man, he tossed another match into the family drama and watched everybody start arguing over paternity, loyalty, forgiveness, and public humiliation. The internet started treating the whole situation like a messy courtroom with no judge, no evidence table, and 12 million people yelling objection from their phones. Some fans said Chrisean was being played again. Some said she was simply choosing peace. And others said Blueface was moving like a man who knows chaos keeps the lights on. But right when everybody thought the mess had peaked, one detail made the whole room go silent. Because this time, Junior was not just part of the drama. He might be the reason everything finally cracks. The mess did not start with one video, one caption, or one late-night reunion clip that had everybody squinting at their phone like they were trying to solve a crime scene through Instagram pixels. This story has been cooking for years. And every time people think the pot is finally cooling down, somebody walks into the kitchen with gasoline, a camera crew, and unresolved feelings. Chrisean and Blueface have always been that couple. The internet could not stop watching, not because it looked healthy, but because it looked like a reality show that escaped the studio and started chasing people through real life. One minute they were laughing, the next minute they were fighting, then crying, then posting, then deleting, then somehow returning like the toxic Avengers had assembled for another chaotic mission. And that is why fans reacted so strongly when Blueface popped back into the picture like a man who still knew exactly where the emotional spare key was hidden. Chrisean had been trying to sell growth, peace, forgiveness, and a new version of herself that was not living inside. The same storm that made her famous and exhausted at the same time. She had the internet believing that the old Chrisean, the one who would chase drama until dawn and defend chaos like it was a luxury brand, had finally retired her jersey. But then Blueface appeared close enough to restart the entire debate. And suddenly, everybody was yelling, "Here we go again!" Like the opening credits of a disaster documentary had just rolled. The scandal really started bubbling when fans, Notice that the conversation was no longer just about Chrisean and Blueface possibly being cool again. It became about Chrisean Jr. And that is where the tone changed from messy entertainment to something way more uncomfortable. Because a child being used as a storyline hits different. People were not just asking whether Chrisean was being played romantically. They were asking whether Junior was being pushed into the background while adults played emotional chess for attention. That question turned the comment sections into a digital courthouse. With fans submitting evidence, screenshots, old clips, interviews, and every eyebrow movement like it belonged in a federal file. Blueface's interview energy only made the whole thing worse, because instead of sounding like a man trying to clean up the damage, he sounded like somebody explaining a business strategy after the circus tent already caught fire. When he spoke about playing into the family image and the public drama, fans did not hear maturity. They heard a man admitting that the chaos had value because everybody kept watching. And baby, the internet does not forgive that kind of statement easily, especially when the same drama includes a baby. A mother trying to rebuild herself and a fan base already tired of emotional gymnastics. People started saying Blueface had not just played Chrisean again. He had played the entire audience like they were extras in a show they never agreed to film. Meanwhile, Chrisean tried to control the narrative by making it clear that forgiveness did not mean she was running back into the same relationship with a suitcase and a dream. She wanted people to understand that being peaceful around somebody from your past does not automatically mean you are back together. Planning, matching outfits, and rewriting history with a glitter pen. But the problem is that Chrisean and Blueface do not have a normal public history. They have a whole internet archive full of chaos. So even a calm moment looks suspicious under that spotlight. Fans were not reacting to one clip. They were reacting to every old wound that clip reminded them of. And that is why the backlash came fast, loud, and disrespectfully organized. Then came the reactions, and the timeline did what the timeline always does when celebrity drama smells fresh, hot, and emotionally irresponsible. Some fans defended Chrisean, saying she had the right to forgive, grow, and exist without being dragged back into her worst moments every time Blueface's name appears nearby. Others were not buying it at all, saying forgiveness is cute until it starts looking like the same door opening for the same person who already rearranged your life, like rented furniture. And in the middle of that shouting match, Junior became the silent center of the conversation. Because people kept asking why the child always seemed to carry the weight of adult confusion. That is what gave the drama its darker edge. Because the jokes were flying, but underneath the memes was a real frustration that fans could not ignore. People were tired of seeing Chrisean's healing journey get interrupted by the same Blueface-shaped hurricane that had already blown through her life several times before. They were tired of seeing him speak casually about things that looked painful, serious, and deeply personal to everybody watching from the outside. And they were especially tired of watching Junior become part of a public debate where everybody had an opinion. But nobody could truly protect him from becoming another viral talking point. The messy buildup turned into a full-blown storm because every side of the internet had a different version of what they believed was happening. One side said Chrisean was being emotionally manipulated again. Another side said Blueface was simply being honest in the most chaotic way possible. And another side said the whole situation felt like clout wearing a family costume. Had the extra messy crowd treating it like Zeus backstage footage, screaming for more clips, more interviews, more reactions, and more tea. Even though the tea was starting to burn everybody involved. That is when the story stopped feeling like casual gossip and started feeling like episode 1 of a Netflix scandal where nobody is innocent. Everybody is loud, and the baby is the only one who never asked for a role by the time the first wave of reactions settled. One thing was obvious. Chrisean could say she was healed. Blueface could say he was just telling his truth. And fans could argue until their thumbs needed medical attention. But the image was already out there. And once the internet decides a woman got played again, it does not gently discuss it. It drags the situation through memes, panels, lives, and reaction videos like a parade float of embarrassment. Supporters wanted her to choose herself harder than ever, while critics said she needed to stop giving Blueface emotional backstage passes after every public mess. And just when it seemed like the storyline could not get more heated, fans started noticing who was missing from the happiest parts of the picture. And that question made everything explode even louder. Once fans started asking why Junior kept feeling like the missing piece in a picture everybody else was posing for. The entire conversation shifted from messy gossip to full internet warfare. Because let's be honest, the timeline can laugh at toxic romance all day. But the second a child looks like collateral damage in grown people's emotional circus, the jokes start sounding a little sharper. People were no longer just saying, Chrisean got played, they were saying, Chrisean got played while Junior got left standing outside the storyline like the family photo had a guest list. And that is the kind of accusation that does not disappear after one Instagram story, because once the internet smells neglect, contradiction, or public embarrassment, it turns into Sherlock Holmes with lip gloss and Wi-Fi. The memes came in first. Because the internet has never met pain, it could not turn into a reaction picture within 6 minutes. One side had Blueface edited like a villain returning for the sequel, walking through smoke with toxic theme music playing while Chrisean fans screamed in the captions like background characters in a disaster movie. Another side compared the whole thing to a WWE betrayal, saying Chrisean kept tagging herself back into a match where Blueface had already hit her with the steel chair, signed autographs, and blamed the referee. Then came the Zeus comparisons, because this drama had everything. Screaming fans, public confusion, questionable loyalty, emotional chaos, and enough side commentary to fill an entire reunion stage. But behind all the clown jokes, fans were genuinely irritated because Blueface's comments made people feel like he was way too comfortable playing with the image of family. If the public relationship, the baby talk, the co-parenting optics, and the messy back and forth were all just part of a larger attention machine, then people wanted to know who was actually protected in the process. Chrisean's critics said she should have known better by now, while her supporters argued that healing is messy and forgiveness does not mean she deserves to be mocked every time Blueface opens his mouth. Still, even the supporters had to admit the optics looked rough, because the timeline was watching Chrisean try to look unbothered, while Blueface kept making the story look like a game he knew how to win. Then the celebrity commentary crowd jumped in, and that is when the mess started growing legs, arms, lashes, and a whole press tour. Bloggers picked apart the interviews, reaction channels replayed every eyebrow raise, and fans started quoting old moments like lawyers presenting exhibits in the most unserious courtroom ever built. Some people said Blueface was exposing the truth nobody wanted to admit, while others said he was rewriting history because it was convenient, dramatic, and guaranteed to keep his name trending. And Chrisean, whether she meant to or not, became the emotional center of the argument again, because people could not decide if she was growing, spiraling, forgiving, or walking into the same trap wearing a new outfit. The contradictions made everything even messier, because nothing in this saga ever lands cleanly. It always crashes sideways into another rumor, another clip, another fan theory, or another family argument. 1 minute Chrisean is making it clear she is not back with Blueface, and the next minute people are studying her every move like a Marvel trailer with hidden clues in the background. 1 minute Blueface sounds like he is admitting the image was strategic, and the next minute fans are debating whether he is being honest, cruel, sarcastic, or just allergic to accountability. That confusion became the gasoline, because the internet does not need full clarity to explode. It only needs a half sentence, a shady clip, and a comment section willing to act. Like detectives, fan outrage hit harder when people started asking what message all of this sends about Junior. because that is where the entertainment value started feeling uncomfortable. Nobody wants to watch a baby become a pawn in a public identity battle, especially when every adult involved already has cameras. Blogs and strangers pulling apart their lives like a messy group project. Fans said Junior deserved stability, not another viral round of people debating whether he was being embraced, ignored, protected, or used as emotional decoration whenever the storyline needed depth. And the more people talked about it, the more Blueface's role looked darker to critics, because they felt like he wanted the benefits of the storyline without the responsibility attached to the child at the center. Chrisean's defenders came, swinging too, and they were not about to let everybody paint her like a fool without mentioning the pressure she has been carrying. They said it is easy for strangers to scream, "Leave him alone," from a phone screen, but harder when feelings, history, family hopes, public shame, and motherhood are all tangled together like cheap headphones in a purse. They argued that Chrisean is still young, still learning, still healing in front of millions, and constantly being punished for every step that does not look perfect, polished, and PR-approved. But even that defense came with a warning, because some fans said loving Chrisean does not mean pretending. Blueface has not repeatedly turned her pain into a public attraction. The internet chaos got ridiculous when people started comparing the situation to a Kardashian scandal with less management and more emotional damage. One viral joke said Kris Jenner would have turned this whole mess into 3 seasons. 2 confessionals, a Hulu special, and a skincare launch by now. While Blueface and Chrisean were giving it away for free on social media, another fan said, "The saga felt like a Marvel multiverse where every version of Blueface somehow finds a way to cause confusion. And every version of Chrisean has to explain why she is not back where people think she is." And then the Zeus jokes came back again, because fans said the only thing missing was a reunion couch, security in black shirts, and somebody yelling, "Roll the clip." While everyone pretended to be shocked, but beneath the jokes, the real tension was simple. People did not trust Blueface's intentions, and they were tired of watching Chrisean get dragged into his orbit. They felt like he knew exactly how to create a headline, exactly how to make her react, and exactly how to keep the public confused long enough for everybody to keep watching. Meanwhile, Chrisean's silence, explanations, and emotional restraint were all being judged at the same time, because no matter what she did, somebody found a way to call it weakness, growth, delusion, or strategy. And as the outrage kept building, one ugly question started spreading louder than every meme. If Blueface could play the public image once, what else about this whole story has been performance? By the time the dust started settling, nobody actually felt like anything had been solved, because this was not the kind of drama that ends with one apology, one clarification, or one cute little moving forward caption. Chrisean could say she was choosing peace. Blueface could act like he was simply explaining himself. And fans could keep arguing in circles, but the damage had already found a seat at the table. The public image looked cracked. The family conversation looked heavier, and Junior suddenly became the emotional symbol of everything people believed had gone wrong between 2 adults who never learned how to keep private pain private. And that is why the aftermath felt less like gossip dying down and more like a storm taking one deep breath before deciding who it wanted to hit next. Chrisean's reputation ended in a complicated place because her supporters were still riding for her, but even some of them were begging her to stop letting Blueface stand close enough to restart the old movie. They wanted her to be happy, healed, loved, and protected. But they also wanted her to understand that forgiveness without boundaries can start looking like an unlocked door with a "hurt me again" sign hanging on it. Critics were even louder, saying she had spent too much time proving she was over Blueface only for one public moment to make. Everybody questioned the entire healing era. And in the middle of all that noise, Chrisean was stuck being judged like a reality show character, when the truth is, real emotions do not always move as cleanly as fans want them to. Blueface's reputation did not exactly walk away sparkling, either because a lot of viewers felt like his comments made him look calculated, cold and way too comfortable with chaos. To critics, he came across like somebody who understood the value of confusion and knew exactly how much attention a messy family narrative could generate once the blogs grabbed it. Every time his name appeared, people started asking whether he was telling the truth, twisting the truth, joking around, or just lighting another fire because he knew everybody would run toward the smoke. And that uncertainty became its own scandal, because when the public no longer trusts your intentions, even your explanation starts sounding like another performance. The alliances also started shifting in a quiet but obvious way. Because not everyone who once defended this dynamic was willing to keep clapping for the same circus. Some Chrisean fans turned protective, saying they did not care about romance, reunion rumors, or viral clips anymore. They only cared about her protecting herself and Junior from more public embarrassment. Others started side-eyeing everybody around the situation, asking why friends, family, bloggers, and platforms kept feeding a story that seemed to hurt the same people over and over again. That is when the drama stopped looking like simple celebrity mess and started looking like a whole ecosystem where pain becomes content. Confusion becomes currency, and accountability always arrives late. The emotional fallout was heavier because Junior became the one name people kept repeating with a different tone, almost like fans were tired of laughing once they remembered a child was involved. Viewers said the baby deserved peace more than headlines, protection more than arguments, and a childhood that did not get turned into another chapter of grown-up damage. Even people who usually come for jokes started admitting that this part felt uncomfortable. Because nobody wants to see a child become the missing puzzle piece in a public image war. Junior entered the center of the conversation. The internet could not pretend this was only about romance anymore. Public confusion. They were supposed to believe. Some thought the whole thing was exaggerated by blogs, while others said the blogs were only loud because Blueface and Chrisean kept giving them material wrapped in glitter and gasoline. And honestly, that confusion is what kept the drama alive, where every answer creates 3 more suspicious questions. The future impact could be serious because Chrisean's next moves will probably be watched harder than ever, especially any move involving Blueface, Jay, or public forgiveness. If she steps away completely, fans will call it growth and celebrate like she just escaped the final level of a toxic video game with 1 life left, screaming that she ignored every warning sign flashing like a casino billboard. And if Blueface keeps speaking in ways that make the family image sound like a game, the backlash will only get colder, louder. Is not whether Chrisean got played again, but whether everybody watching helped make the game profitable. Because fans clicked, blogs posted, reactors screamed, comments multiplied. And suddenly, the same people begging for peace were feeding the machine that keeps dragging this family into another viral episode. That is the uncomfortable part. Nobody. Because the internet loves to act like a judge while still buying front row tickets to the chaos it claims to hate. The whole digital circus has been eating from the same plate. So now Chrisean is standing at a very dangerous crossroads, where one decision can either protect her peace or throw her right back into the same storyline fans are already tired of watching. The emotional heartbeat of the conversation. The one person who should not have to carry adult confusion, public theories, or viral debates on his tiny shoulders. And just when everyone thinks the chapter is finally closing, one question starts creeping through the comments like a warning. Siren, what happens if Chrisean finally stops explaining herself and shows Blueface what being left out of the picture really feels like? Because this Blueface and Chrisean saga is not just drama. It is a full emotional obstacle course with plot twists, baby controversy, public confusion, and fans fighting like rent is due in the comments section. Because this mess clearly came with interest. And do not act innocent. Because if you made it this far, you are just as invested as the rest of us watching this circus cartwheel across the internet in designer confusion. Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell me straight. Did Chrisean get played again? Or is the internet judging her too hard for trying to keep peace in a situation nobody fully understands? Because some people are saying she needs to close the Blueface chapter forever. Lock the door, throw away the key, and let the whole storyline rot in the celebrity drama basement. Others think Blueface knows exactly how to stir the pot, season the confusion and serve chaos like it is a 5-star meal for every blog page waiting with a fork. And then there are the fans who only care about Junior, because at the end of the day, the child deserves protection, peace, and a life that is not turned into another viral debate. Subscribe to the channel because you already know Secret Scoop. We are watching the clips, catching the contradictions, reading between the captions, and breaking down the chaos before the comment section even finishes putting on its detective badge. Hit that notification bell too, because with Blueface and Chrisean, peace can last 5 minutes before somebody posts, deletes, denies, explains, and accidentally restarts the entire circus again. And until the next bombshell drops, remember, this is Secret Scoop, where the drama is hot, the receipts are loud, and the truth always finds its way back into the picture.